People still don't know the real reason. Maybe it's time I told them.
People still don't know the real reason, and maybe it's finally time someone says it clearly. You heard that right. Michael Jordan isn't just looking back. He's revealing the true story behind one of the coldest rivalries the league has ever seen. Today, I'm breaking down exactly why MJ never got along with Isaiah Thomas. From those brutal playoff battles that left Jordan on the floor, to the walk-off moment that froze their relationship forever, every chapter added fuel to the fire. And even now, the Dream Team controversy still hangs over Thomas like a dark cloud.
As soon as he steps in the paint.
And then there was the moment Jordan used his influence to shut down one of the biggest opportunities of Thomas's career. This wasn't some small disagreement. The bad blood between them ran far deeper than most people ever imagined. If you really want to understand why Jordan never liked Thomas, you can't start with the fake smiles or the Dream Team drama. You have to start with pure toughness, with those late ATS playoff battles where every drive to the basket felt like stepping into a war zone. Jordan would glide down the lane, ready to pull off one of those unbelievable hang-time finishes only he could do. And then boom, Bill Laimbeer, or another enforcer, would slam his shoulder straight into Jordan's chest like it was a football tackle. Jordan hit the floor, the entire arena went silent, and Detroit's bench celebrated like it was all part of the script. And the crazy part? It was. This wasn't random contact. This was the Jordan rules in full effect. The moment MJ touched the paint, the Pistons had one order: hit him. Hit him again. And if he got back up, make sure the next hit was even harder. Detroit literally built an entire defensive playbook around stopping one man, and their instructions couldn't have been clearer.
Well, that's the Jordan rules, and it was that simple.
What happens when he does make it this time?
That's when Laimbeer and Mahorn would go up and knock him down to the...
Years later, former Pistons assistant Brendan Malone admitted it outright: that was the Jordan rules. Simple, cold, and brutally physical. They weren't just trying to slow Jordan down, they were trying to break him in every possible way. Mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever it took to shake his confidence, and this is where Isaiah Thomas comes in. He wasn't some innocent bystander watching from the sidelines while his team went wild. He was the face of that Pistons squad, the Chicago kid who grew up to lead the bad boys like a battlefield commander.
As a defender, your job is to take away.
To Thomas, those hits weren't dirty at all. In his eyes, that was just smart, strategic basketball. And you don't have to take my word for it, look at what he said himself: take out his right hand. That's how serious things were. Now place that mindset next to Jordan's rise. MJ was becoming the league's new superstar, the next face of the NBA after Magic and Bird. His whole game was built on flair, dominance, and highlight reel plays that made arenas explode. He wanted to break you down, then dunk on your center just to make a statement. So imagine how disrespectful it felt when every time he attacked the rim, he got hit like he had walked into a wrestling match. The league was promoting Jordan as the future, but Detroit was treating him like a crash test dummy. And standing right in the middle of all of it was Thomas, smiling while his teammates delivered elbows, shoulders, and body checks. That's where the real bitterness started to boil over, because this wasn't just about hard fouls. It was about power. Jordan saw himself as the next king of the NBA, the guy who would take the game global. Meanwhile, Thomas felt like the overlooked underdog, the guy who built something real in Detroit only to watch the spotlight drift toward this new flashy icon.
How would you describe the way you felt then and feel now about having been the bad boys?
And every year, those playoff clashes grew heavier, because what came next wasn't basketball anymore, it became an outright war. A war that dragged on for years and turned into the biggest obstacle standing between Jordan and his rise to the throne. By the late 80s, the Pistons already had their entire identity carved in stone. And it wasn't some cute nickname they tossed around for fun. They earned that bad boys label every single night with elbows, shoves, hard fouls, and intimidation so real that players hesitated before even stepping into the paint. And no one took more of that punishment than Michael Jordan. Look back at 1988 when the Bulls and Pistons met in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Jordan was putting up absurd numbers, averaging 36. 3 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists across the series. He was going off every single night. But from the opening tip, Detroit made their strategy clear. They collapsed on him, crashed into him, and sent a very physical reminder of exactly what waited for him every time he attacked the lane.
Every time you go to the fucking basket, put him on the ground. When he comes to the basket, he ain't gonna dunk. We're gonna hit you, and you're gonna be on the ground.
Jordan is still there.
We tried to physically hurt Michael.
And believe me, they weren't joking about any of it. Even Dennis Rodman later admitted exactly what the Pistons were trying to do. By 1989, this beef had pushed way past competition. It had turned into pure hostility. Chicago wasn't just a hungry young team anymore. Jordan now had Scottie Pippen developing into a star and Horace Grant bringing real strength inside. Suddenly, the Bulls looked ready to rip the East right out of Detroit's hands. That Eastern Conference Finals went the full 7 games, and right in the middle of all that chaos, Jordan delivered one of the coldest performances of his entire career. In Game 3, he absolutely detonated, dropping 46 points, slicing through double teams, attacking the rim, knocking down mid-range shots like it was nothing, and sending the whole arena into a frenzy. Chicago stole that game 99-97, and for a moment, it felt like the balance of power was finally shifting. But Detroit still had their dirtiest weapon, the infamous Jordan rules. That 1989 series turned into a real battlefield. Jordan would launch toward the rim, and Laimbeer would meet him with a forearm like a nightclub bouncer. Rodman would yank him out of the air. Every single possession felt like a punishment.
I think the crowd is cheering here for the Bulls right now, and the Pistons as they leave the court. I don't think they're cheering for the Bulls, but I think the greeting is for the Pistons as they are.
And when it all came down to Game 7, fate twisted the knife even deeper. Scottie Pippen was sidelined by a brutal migraine, shooting just 1 for 10 and barely able to see the hoop. Jordan was swarmed, trapped, shoved, and hammered, yet he battled until the final buzzer. But Detroit claimed the win, 93-74. The Pistons advanced, and Jordan walked off the court furious, humiliated. And if you think Detroit felt even a hint of sympathy, think again. Thomas and his crew shrugged it off as toughness. To them, Chicago hadn't been unlucky, they had just been soft.
Hey, when Larry Bird exited, we never looked back and said, oh, they were poor sports, they were bad champions. We were actually grateful of the lessons that they had taught us along the way in terms of how.
Then came 1990, another Eastern Conference Finals, another chance at revenge. By this point, Jordan wasn't even hiding how frustrated he was. And the Pistons didn't care one bit. Jordan still dominated, averaging 32 points for the series. But this wasn't just one man going up against 5 opponents. This was one man battling an entire system designed to break him. Even then, Jordan kept fighting, relentlessly attacking while Detroit's defense chipped away at him like endless body shots in a heavyweight fight. Game 7 arrived, and the outcome was the same. The Pistons shut the door once again, punching another ticket to the finals.
Rod phone called and said, Rod, I won't play with Isaiah Thomas on the team. He assured me, he said, you know what? Chuck that boy, Isaiah. So Isaiah's not going to be.
By that point, the Eastern Conference felt like it was carved out of pure pain, with Detroit standing tall as the gatekeepers. What made it even colder was the timing. The Celtics dynasty was fading, the Lakers were aging, and the Pistons had claimed the throne by dragging every opponent through the dirt. Everyone, including Jordan, knew the price you had to pay just to compete. So when 1991 arrived, this wasn't just another rematch. This was chapter 4 of a grudge filled with humiliation, punishment, and the thirst for payback. And that's when the story truly exploded. When Chicago finally flipped the script, Detroit didn't just lose, they got embarrassed. By 1991, the Bulls weren't knocking anymore. They kicked the entire door off its hinges. Chicago didn't just beat the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals, they swept them. 4 straight games. No migraines. No excuses. And no Jordan rules left to hold him back.
And yeah, he carries even to the.
By 1991, the Bulls had flipped the script. 4 years, Detroit had dominated the East, physically punishing Jordan and his team. But now, Chicago came in hungry, relentless, and unafraid. Game after game, Jordan sliced through the Pistons, averaging nearly 30 points a night, but it wasn't just scoring, it was control. Whenever Detroit tried to bully him, he bounced back. Whenever they collapsed on him, he found Pippen or Grant cutting through like knives. By Game 4, the Pistons were cracked, defeated, and done. And then came the infamous moment. With time still on the clock, Isaiah Thomas stood from the bench, gave a slight nod, and led his team off the court. No handshakes, no words, no eye contact. Bill Laimbeer followed. Dennis Rodman followed. The whole crew ghosted Chicago on the biggest win of the Bulls' run. That walk-off froze the rivalry forever. Jordan didn't just see bad sportsmanship, he saw betrayal. Years later, in The Last Dance, he didn't hold back, calling Thomas out on camera nearly 30 years later. The snub didn't end there. In 1992, when the Dream Team was assembled, the the greatest squad basketball has ever seen, Thomas was left off the roster. Despite 2 rings, multiple All-Star appearances, and a Finals MVP, his name was nowhere. Meanwhile, players like Stockton, Drexler, and even Leitner made the cut. Rumors swirled, and the story stuck. Jordan made it clear, if Thomas got in, he'd opt out. The committee wasn't about to risk the dream team without the reigning MVP, the face of basketball, and the global superstar. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird also had tensions with Thomas, but Jordan's influence made the decision easy. Thomas didn't just miss a roster spot, he was erased from one of the most iconic moments in sports history. The fallout followed him for decades. Every documentary, highlight reel, and dream team celebration left him out. People debated him not because of his talent, nobody doubted that, but because of relationships, grudges, and influence. Jordan versus Thomas wasn't just a rivalry, it was a masterclass in NBA politics, pride, and power. The Pistons physically and mentally punished Jordan for years. When he finally gained the power, he used it coldly and decisively. By the time The Last Dance aired in 2020, that old grudge exploded for a new generation. Jordan's bitterness was on full display, and Thomas pushed back, defending his legacy and insisting the Pistons played exactly the way the era demanded: physical, tough, and uncompromising. This rivalry was different from others. Unlike Shaq and Kobe or LeBron and Cleveland, Jordan and Thomas never made peace. It wasn't about championships or money, it was personal, about respect, legacy, and influence. Jordan held that grudge like another trophy. Thomas never folded, defending his side to the public, even decades later. So now, the question remains, whose side are you on? Team MJ or Team Thomas? The story isn't just history, it's a lesson in talent, power, and the lasting weight of grudges.